We're creeping up on roster crunch season, folks. As the flowers bloom for spring training, so comes the harsh reality that not everyone playing in the brisk days of March will make the opening day roster. For many who are considered fringe major leaguers, this ultimately means that they will fall to the waiver wire. But what exactly is the waiver wire anyway? When a player is placed on outright waivers, it means that the other 29 teams in the league will have an opportunity to claim them and add them to their 40-man roster. If a player passes through the system, they'll either be released by that team or assigned to a minor league team in the system. Most of the time, this becomes just part of the run-of-the-mill roster shifting that every team goes through throughout a regular season, looking for healthy bodies to get through the daily rigorous grind of 162 games. But sometimes, pretty rarely, a player who maybe didn't get the opportunity they deserved will flourish after going through the waiver wire to another team, becoming a prominent major league player. Today, we're going to highlight 4 recent cases of this. If you enjoyed today's video, consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the Jolly Olive channel. Let's go. First up is a guy that just got his first taste of World Series action. Originally a 4th round pick in the 2012 draft by the Baltimore Orioles, Christian Walker stormed through the minor leagues with impressive power numbers and great defense, and he got his first MLB cup of coffee within 2 years. However, with the Orioles bearing the weight of a massive contract to first baseman Chris Davis and Nelson Cruz taking the designated hitter spot to lead the league in home runs that year, there was simply no room on the roster for Walker in 2014. Despite being the number 3 prospect in their system, he got just 27 at-bats over parts of 2 seasons and failed to impress in limited time before essentially becoming a AAA mainstay at first base for the Norfolk Tides. Before the 2017 season got underway, the Orioles designated Walker for assignment to free up roster space, allowing any team in the league to place a waiver claim on him. The Atlanta Braves did so first, looking at Christian Walker as a potential bench bat option before ultimately going with Matt Adams instead. After they DFA'd him as well, the Cincinnati Reds put in a claim before they too decided to let him go by month's end. Finally, the Arizona Diamondbacks nabbed him at the end of March, and he once again fell into the AAA depth chart. Yeah, that's about as bad a first baseman look as you can get. In a matter of a month, C-Walk went from being blocked by Chris Davis to being blocked by Freddie Freeman to being blocked by Joey Votto to being blocked by Paul Goldschmidt. Give the guy a break. Well, that's why he's in this video. He did get a break eventually. Walker responded to this by winning the Pacific Coast League MVP award that season, clubbing 32 home runs with a 980 OPS as the everyday first baseman for the Reno Aces. After making the playoffs in 2017, the Diamondbacks regressed in the following years and moved on from Paul Goldschmidt, leaving their first baseman position wide open for opportunity. Getting a chance at sustained playing time for the first time in his career, Walker made the most of his opportunity at age 28. He broke out in 2019, smacking 29 home runs for an 85-win squad. Since then, Walker has held on to the job with authority through the highs and lows of D-back seasons. He shined, especially each of the past 2 seasons, hitting over 30 home runs with an OPS plus north of 120 and a Gold Glove Award at first base in both 2022 and 2023. Aside from the Gold Glove Awards, he's one of 3 such players in Arizona's franchise history to hit these offensive numbers in multiple seasons, alongside Paul Goldschmidt and Luis Gonzalez. He's also setting records while he's not in the game too. According to my research, he's the only player in Diamondbacks history to get ejected from a game for clapping. Walker was a key piece in helping Arizona return to relevance by making the playoffs as a wildcard team last year and then helping his squad win the National League pennant. While Paul Goldschmidt received a contract worth $130 million with the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks have been able to spend on the roster elsewhere thanks to owing Walker around $10 million during his time there. They're both going to hit free agency in 2025 as well. Plenty of teams had their hands on Christian Walker, but in the end, Arizona managed to find a replacement for their perennial MVP candidate by just lucking out with a simple waiver claim. Up next, we have our first pitcher who recently just retired after over a decade in the league. Collin McHugh's career got off to a tumultuous start, to say the least. A former 18th round pick in the 2008 draft, McHugh climbed his way through the minor leagues and made his debut with the Mets, shutting out the Rockies over 7 innings in a stellar start. He'd end up pitching for those same Rockies the following season after a 2013 midseason trade, where his numbers ballooned to Rockies pitcher-type numbers. In return, the Mets got Eric Young Jr. in this trade, who was one of my favorite players while I was growing up, and also one time got used as the hype guy for an ESPN Sunday Night Baseball graphic alongside Bryce Harper, which kind of just feels mean. At age 27, with rough MLB numbers and a fastball that sat just around 90 miles per hour on the gun, the Rockies decided to look elsewhere and designated McHugh for assignment. McHugh's only team left to turn to was the then worst team in Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros. Desperate for starting pitching options, McHugh was able to break camp with the 2014 squad. He made a key adjustment, leaning on his cutter far more than becoming a soft contact specialist rather than aiming for strikeouts, and added great horizontal run to his arsenal. His ground ball rate soared over 40% for the first time in his career this season, a value it would stay at for the remainder of his playing days. 2014 was simply the best season of McHugh's brief career to that point. His 2.73 ERA in over 150 innings ranked 6th in the American League, helping him finish the year with AL Rookie of the Year votes. McHugh, Dallas Keuchel, and Scott Feldman completed a fearsome trio of Houston starters, successfully helping the club improve by 20 wins and, by the next season, return to the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. McHugh pitched over 150 innings every season from 2014 to 2016 with a cumulative 105 ERA plus and 1.25 WHIP. Solid and consistent numbers for a starting pitcher who could barely crack a roster in the first place. In 2015, he pitched over 200 innings for the first and only time in his career, finishing top 10 in strikeouts in the league and 8th in AL Cy Young voting. McHugh ended up completing an 11-year career, eventually transitioning to a reliever role where he was absolutely dominant for the 2018 Astros and 2021 Rays. He finished his career just 8 innings shy of 1,000 frames, earning over $25 million in his career and taking home a World Series ring after it looked like his playing days initially might have ended after just 15 games pitched. Not bad for an 18th round pick. Up next, we have our most recent example. A 2017 first-round pick, Brent Rooker rose all the way to number 6 on the Minnesota Twins prospect list in 2019. He maintained a cumulative OPS over 900 in his minor league playing days, and he got a brief cup of coffee in the 2020 season where he did perform well. He looked primed to join a promising Bomba Squad roster, but he would stumble in a more extended look the following year, striking out in a third of his at-bats with an OPS plus of just 89. The Twins opted to give Nick Gordon, their longtime number 1 prospect, playing time over Rooker, packaging him in a big-time swap with the San Diego Padres early in the 2022 season. Minnesota acquired decent pitching depth in the deal in Chris Paddock and Emilio Pagan, while Rooker got stuck in AAA due to a crowded San Diego outfield. After just 7 at-bats in the brown and yellow, he was flipped yet again, this time to the lowly Kansas City Royals. Rooker did get playing time there in the final month of the season, once again failing to perform despite impressive numbers at AAA. He was quickly falling into quadruple-A player territory and was designated for assignment that offseason by the Royals. In 2022, the Royals were the second worst team in the American League with a 65-97 record. Only one team in the American League was worse than them, that being the 102-loss Oakland A's. It's certainly a daunting task these days to be a member of the Oakland baseball team amidst the controversy surrounding the owner's desire for relocation and unwillingness to put a competitive product on the field for a hungry, passionate fan base. But a silver lining it does entail is opportunities for players who might otherwise have no other chance to play, and this was the case for Brent Rooker. With no one hunting for his job and no real threat of demotion with the team's open desire to lose, Rooker was able to flourish. He hit the ground running to say the least, taking the league by storm in April with a 1.245 OPS and 9 home runs in his first 22 games of the year. From there, he took off and became the most potent hitter in an otherwise weak Oakland lineup. In 2023, he clubbed 30 home runs and played over 60 games for the first time in his young career, making his first All-Star team at age 28. As for how he managed to hit all those home runs, Brent Rooker actually shared his offensive secrets with his fans on Twitter. And I gotta say, I've been using this strategy for years and I haven't seen any real success with it. Thanks to a wise waiver claim, Oakland fans will at least get to watch Rooker play for their team until 2028, and who knows where they'll be playing by then. But the point stands. Rooker had one chance left in the league, and he made the absolute most of it. Our last entry on today's list is the closer for the presumptive best team in baseball this year. Evan Phillips was originally a 17th round pick in the 2015 draft by the Atlanta Braves, after struggling mightily with control issues during his college days. His impressive stuff was enough to help him trudge through the minor leagues as an effective reliever, and after 3 years, he made his debut in 2018 for Atlanta with some pretty poor results. The Braves used his minor league pedigree to throw him in as a bonus piece to a 2018 trade that brought Kevin Gausman and Darren O'Day from Baltimore to Atlanta. Phillips fell into a situation with some pretty terrible Orioles teams as the Birds were entering their tanking years and looking for pretty much any warm body they could find to put on the active roster. Phillips spent parts of 3 seasons pitching there, appearing in 44 games and once again yielding poor results at the major league level. His numbers in AAA worsened as well, and in 2021, with the Orioles trending back upwards, he was released in early August. The Rays scooped him up off waivers and helped him reshape his slider into a sweeper, essentially taking velocity off the pitch and adding to its horizontal movement. He made just one appearance for them though, getting designated for assignment in a late season roster crunch where none other than the Los Angeles Dodgers claimed him off waivers. The Dodgers, in the midst of an NL West race with the Giants, had one of the best records in the league, which placed them at the bottom of waiver priority, yet they still managed to get the guy they wanted. With a newly shaped slider slider, Phillips got his fastball all the way up to 96 miles per hour on average in the Dodgers lab after sitting at 94 the year prior. He threw 10 solid games for LA that year and even pitched 3 scoreless innings in that year's NLCS matchup with the team that drafted him, the Braves. In 2022, after adding a cutter that he only threw to left-handed hitters, Phillips became absolutely dominant as he had an answer for everything. Among pitchers with 60 innings pitched in 2022, Phillips owned the best ERA in all of baseball at 1.14 and the 5th best home run per 9 rate at 0.29. In 2023, he was great once again, claiming the Dodgers' closer job. In the past 2 seasons, he's been the most effective reliever in all of baseball, and quite quietly at that. He's led all pitchers with at least 120 innings pitched with a 1.29 ERA and 0.79 WHIP in this 2-season span. Who knows who actually cracked the code with him, whether it was the Dodgers or the Rays, but one thing is certain. It's astonishing that the Tampa Bay Rays, the pitching factory of MLB, let the best closer in baseball slip through the cracks to the Dodgers of all teams. And as for the other 28 teams asleep at the wheel, what were you guys doing? And that's my list. If this list reminded you of any other players that were great waiver claims, maybe leave a comment down below, and perhaps we could do a part 2 of this video if you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you enjoyed the content, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, that'll do it for me, and I'll see you guys next time.